Russell Crowe has undeniably been a family name for several decades, most notably in his career-defining role as Maximus in 2000's Gladiator.
Are you not entertained?
Since then, he's gone on to play virtually everything from geniuses to singing policemen to folks with severe road rage issues and, of course, exorcists. With only just recently playing an exorcist in the Pope's Exorcist just last year, he's back at it in 2024 with The Exorcism. These two films are not related in any way.
What?
So does he still have what it takes? Will The Exorcism help Russell Crowe make a comeback? Let's get cracking. The Exorcism focuses on Anthony Miller, a washed-out actor with troubling history of alcoholism and abuse from the priesthood many years ago. These things, in part, led to an estranged relationship with his own daughter, who he's trying to make amends with. And after an audition, Anthony lands a role as an exorcist in an upcoming film. But he slowly begins to realize that the truth is stranger than fiction, as he seems to be smack dab in the middle of a real exorcism, asking once again, is he good enough to deal with these demons? Before you can answer if Russell Crowe is great in this film or not, one must ask if it's even a good exorcism film. After all, there are easily hundreds of horror films that deal with this exact topic, so how are we to differentiate The Exorcism from the rest? To answer that, you need to first decide what you are looking for in regards to exorcism films. Personally, when I watch films that feature exorcisms, I look for something different, at least narratively. A little bit of originality can go a long way into turning a story that we've all seen before 1,000 times feel somewhat unique, and I have to admit that the foundation to The Exorcism was strong, and depending on who you ask, sometimes a bad movie with a good introduction is better than a bad movie with a good ending. Because at the very least, you can say that The Exorcism contains a solid hook, which allows audiences to be that much more invested in the story in the event that the film ends up being terrible. And while I couldn't say that The Exorcism is terrible, I would easily say that it contains missed potential, and a lot of it. There are two paths that this film could have taken when it came down to the exorcism trope. You could go a serious or dramatic approach, or you could take the more satirical, humorous path. One way to make a film serious would be to continue the story of what the tagline promises, that they are making a cursed film. We've all seen movies about cursed films, but we never really saw the production of such a film. Unfortunately, if the film was about making a cursed film, I never really picked up on that in the movie itself. The other way you could go, as I had mentioned before, is much more of a satirical vantage point. You have an actor thinking that he's just doing a job, when in all actuality, you have a real demonic possession going on. This, of course, is where you could go the Three Amigos or Tropical Thunder route and have him just go along with the script, not realizing that he's being used to literally exorcise a real possessed individual. That would have been great. While you could go two different ways with tone and voice, The Exorcism chose to go the serious or dramatic path, and like I had mentioned before, stuck to much more of a safe narrative, one that we've all seen 1,000 times before, so it all began to feel rather insignificant the more that it played out. Yet, I still have to answer the burning question on Russell Crowe. Did he give it his all? Is he back in business? I'm afraid a majority of his performance in The Exorcism was mediocre compared to a mass majority of projects that I've seen from him in the past. His role in the failed Mummy revival even had more conviction from the veteran film star. While he had his moments here and there as Anthony Miller, more often than not he plays an underspoken actor, delivering lines that 9 times out of 10 feel as though he's phoning in these lines and couldn't care less. Now, some of this was purposeful, as his character is an addict and is struggling to get back into the world of acting. But honestly, some of it felt like it should have had more oomph, especially the moments between his character and his character's daughter. But no matter if some of it was purposeful and some of it wasn't, all of it was boring. And to top it all off, even the title of the film is uninspired. The Exorcism? That's what you're giving me? I'm sorry, but this is one film that had promise and mostly squandered it. One last question you'll probably be asking yourself as a horror film: how are the scares? I don't like answering that question. All horror is subjective. What works for me may not work for you, and same vice versa, but for those of you wishing for some originality in terms of scares, this is not for you. Everything here was run-of-the-mill jump scare territory. If that sounds like you, the film might impress you, I don't know. If not, I'm afraid it will be a letdown. The one main positive that I will say about The Exorcism is its penchant to be slightly unpredictable with its plot. It took a few turns here and there that I wasn't technically expecting, so that's pretty good, give credit where it's due. But my score for The Exorcism is a bleak D+, a score that represents a film that had a promising start as well as a plot that could have gone in a couple of directions and still be great, yet ultimately took its own path and became a forgettable afterthought. But what about you guys? Are you a fan of Russell Crowe? What do you think about him playing an actor playing a priest? Let me know what you thought about The Exorcism, and of course, remember to hit that like, subscribe button, and bell to be notified when I come out with my next review. But until then, peace out.